Okay, so right then, got a settings video for 2042. This game it's not in a good state. You know, it's the mouse input is bugged. It doesn't feel great. FPS is quite bad. You know, it kind of is what it is, but you know, a lot of players, including myself, you know, would like a bit more. And it's taken me a week to really fine tune or find settings that I'm starting to feel comfortable with, because there's a few things in here that need to be talked about. This is only for the PC version, but before we go into game, we're gonna quickly go to my files, go to documents, and we're going to go into the 2042, go to settings, save _ profile, click that, go notepad, OK, extend that out, boom. Yes, there's a few things you can tweak in here. First off, you want to make sure your refresh rate is set to your refresh rate. When I first opened this, it was set to 60 Hz, and it's for some reason it's here twice as well. So you got that one there, and it's a bit lower as well. Resolution Hertz down here, so set that to 240. So there are a few things here you can do to get a few more FPS. Now, a lot of people have been saying when they turn this on, you set that to 1, and it turns it on. And a lot of people have been saying they get a lot more FPS. For me, it hasn't worked, but that's definitely something you can try. For my PC, I get basically exactly the same FPS, but a lot of people said they get a lot of gains for this, so that's something you might be able to try and do your own testing on. Something else, there's a few more down here. Shadow quality, set that to 0. I think that's on 1 or 2. First open this, and that should get you a few more FPS. And weapon depth of field, so if you don't understand, that is when you ADS, you know, you get that sort of blurring effect around the weapon, which I really don't like. This isn't in the menus in the game, you have to turn it off in this profile. So to turn it off, it should be at 1, but to turn it off, set it to 0. And that's pretty much it. There's not really anything else we can do really. Save, and that's it. And we'll jump into the game. Right then, so here we are in game. Now there's one thing that you can do. If you're familiar with Battlefield 5 PC version, there's one thing where you can sort of disable the anti-aliasing. And it does work in here, but it does mess about with the menu. It does look weird. I'll show you, but there is an FPS gain. But I'll just show you that. So I'm getting about, obviously I've got OBS in the background, so it's going to be a bit less, but I'm going about 170 FPS. That's it. WorldRender.LightTileCsPathEnable. If you play Battlefield 5, you probably know what that is. Set it to 0. Boom. There you go. So it's sort of, you know. But there, look, bam. 190 FPS. So that's instant 15 FPS. You know, obviously this is the menus. This is not in game, but I've tested this in game and it does feel a lot more smoother. So if you don't like that sort of look in game, then probably it's not best for you. But you know, it is something you can do. Right, so let's go into options. Now there's a lot to explain here. There's a lot going on here, and I'm just going to go straight into it. In this game, the controller inputs are interfering with the mouse settings and mouse and keyboard settings. Yeah, that's a thing in this game. So firstly, we're gonna go over to the mouse section. Raw mouse input on foot. So this is your sense. This is pretty much, I played 7% at 800 DPI in Battlefield 5, and in this game it's roughly double, but I've taken it down 1, so my sense, it should be 14 in this game, but I have taken it down a point. So that's what you want to do with your sense if you're at 800 DPI, that is. Field of view again, personal preference. ADS field of view. Yeah, personal preference. And that is... oh no, that's not... yeah. So this one here, soldier, zoom, aim, sensitivity. By default, it's set to 100. Now, so what this means is, I'm not sure whether this is bugged or not, but when it's set to 100, it essentially sets your zoom aim sensitivity, so it's slower than your hip fire when it's at 100%. And I noticed it straight away when I jumped this game, and I tend to play with my hip fire and my ADS at the same speed. So what I did with that is I put it up to 150, and that is, my hip fire is the same as my ADS speed. The reason I mention it is because, just to make you aware that, at 100% your ADS will be slower than your hip fire. I would say put quick throw grenades, I'll put that on, and that is it, except for this little part. Now, vertical mouse ratio, you want this on 100%. Vertical zoom aim ratio, I can't even talk, 100%. Uniform soldier aiming, I have that on. Coefficient, I like 133, but other people, run 178 or 0. That's the other two settings, but I just got used to 133. But you might want to change to whatever you want. That's sort of personal preference, really. We're going to go into the controller settings, and yeah, so like I said before, the controller settings are messing with or interfering with the mouse input. So essentially what you want to do is copy your controller settings to your PC settings, your mouse and keyboard settings. So just quickly turn off vibration. Yeah, 13%. Soldier aim is on 13%. Same with FOV. Same with field of view. Soldier aim assist. Turn it all off. Some people say, I have heard some people say that doesn't really affect it, but I like it off to be safe, to be honest. Again, that's that zoom aim sensitivity I was talking about earlier. Exactly the same. Now, this is where the mouse aim was feeling really bad, and this is the problem. So it's kind of funny, because when I used to play on console, I was very familiar with this, because I think it used to be on like 44 or something like that, and it basically just makes your y-axis and your x-axis exactly the same when it's at 100%. So basically what you want to do is turn the aiming left-right acceleration. You just want to turn that off. Set that to 100. Set that to 100. Soldier aiming on, USA on, coefficient the same, and this is the setting that was interfering with mouse input. It was really interfering. It does still feel bad, to be honest, but this is the one. This is the key one. Same with the vehicle. Same with vehicle settings. Exactly the same. Yeah, exactly the same. 0%. Vertical aim ratio 100. Vertical zoom aim ratio 100. And trust me, your aim will feel a lot better with this settings like this. It still won't feel good, but it'll still feel better. And lastly, you go to controller tuning and set pretty much everything to 0. Controller left stick, dead zones, all to 0. I wouldn't interfere with that. 0, 0. The triggers, the lowest you can get it. And that's pretty much it. And that's it for the mouse input. So we're going to go through the display and other settings now. You know, all this is like personal preference. Camera shake, the lowest you can go, 50. Share usage data, off. Display, full screen. Monitor, your native res, 1080p. You probably all know this. Your hertz, 240, that's what I got. Your field of view, 79. So that's this is like Battlefield 5, so that's the vertical FOV. So I think that's 95 horizontal. Vehicle, ADS FOV, it's all personal preference. Motion blur, off. All these filters and stuff, get them off. And pretty much just run everything on low. Everything on low. Dynamic res off, DLS off, ray tracing off, NVIDIA reflex low latency. I have this enabled, but what this is essentially if you're GPU bound, so say your GPU is using like 96-97% usage or above, there is a input lag that gets introduced, and so what this does is when you're hitting that sort of 96-97 plus GPU usage, this pretty much halves the input lag when you're at that point. So I pretty much have that enabled with this game because I think you kind of need it. Future frame rendering, I've done a test on this. I think it's better with it off. The FPS gains from Battlefield 5, you just don't get them in this game. Battlefield 5, I was getting like 100 FPS more, something like that, 50 plus in game maybe. But you just don't get the gains in this game. If you want to see a video, I've done a video on it. I'll leave a little link at the top if you want to check it out. But I think it does feel better with this off, and there's not really any FPS gain, so leave it off. VSync off. HUD, personal preference, your colours, camera shake 50%. I would say the kill log, maybe put it on nearby, because everything, there's like 128 players in a server. You don't want that on every single one in the kill feed. You only really need it for people nearby, in my opinion. Crosshair, or personal preference. Mini map again, personal preference. Sound, I turn the music off just because apparently that's the try-hard setting, so accessibility, camera shake 50%. This little one here is crosshair projection. So what that does is your crosshair, when you're aiming, when you have it on, it sort of moves. It moves, and it's not centered or static to the center of the screen. Obviously you want your crosshair static at the center of your screen all the time, don't you? In theory, that's what you want. But when you have it on, it sort of moves about, and it sort of that's in the game apparently. But yeah, turn it off. And everything else is just your personal preference, and then key bindings as well. Pretty much just copy them from Battlefield 5 or previous Battlefield titles. I have had a problem where it keeps changing by itself, so you might have to do it a couple of times when you reboot the game. So the main issue is the controller interfering with mouse input. So as long as you keep your controller and your mouse the same, and you keep these settings here, 100 and 100, and on the controller as well. Aim ratio, 100 and 100, and keep that acceleration to 0. You should have a better time. And that is pretty much it, my dudes.